Oh, hey, didn't see you there. I'm Michael.
Hey, I'm Nate.
Hey there, I'm Blake, and you're watching Channel 9 News.
Unlike other sources, Channel 9 News will always give you the facts. We provide first-hand accounts without any bias, so you can always trust the information you receive.
Something was very different that day. It was kind of dark. I went to the backyard of my house and I noticed it was very noisy. Something was very, very wrong. My daughter called me and she said, "Mommy, everybody's leaving paradise. In 1 hour or less, we have nothing."
Cars gutted by walls of fire. In some cases, they became tombs for residents.
The Camp Fire has become the deadliest wildfire in California history.
Tonight is a sensitive topic. On November 8th, 2018, a faulty electricity transmission line ignited a fire in Butte County that left people terrified and forced everyone to evacuate the area. It ultimately killed 85 people, burned 240,000 acres, destroyed over 18,000 buildings, and caused an estimated total damage of $16.5 billion. But some of the damage just isn't recoverable. This has been the most destructive wildfire in the history of California. Let's turn to our reporters for more insight on the issue.
Throughout the devastating process of the campfires, Paradise became desolated and utterly destroyed. Around 95% of the town was wiped out, and the citizens were forced to leave as it was uninhabitable. With 19,000 structures being destroyed, the total cost of damage is around $16.5 billion. Most of these buildings were residential, and families without insurance are facing a crisis. Don't forget the stressful additional cost of starting a new life in a new town. Wow, that sucks. This leaves us with the question, who should be responsible to pay this massive bill? Welcome back. After learning about this extreme devastation, and before anyone starts pointing fingers, we must realize what caused this fire. Experts at CAL FIRE determined that it was caused by electrical transmission lines owned and operated by Pacific Gas and Electricity located in the Pulga area. We can now point fingers. Now that we clearly recognize PG&E as the culprit, are they willing to compensate the citizens? Or will the people have to fight them in court? Well, it turns out they faced a $30 billion lawsuit in liabilities, but it ended up being settled at $13 billion. Hopefully, these funds will benefit the people of Paradise and their lives will return to normal.
After the fires in Paradise, PG&E performed several mass power outages in order to keep the people safe, supposedly. This left around 2.4 million people without power for a period of time. Is it really about preventing fires, or is it about not getting sued? This is not fair to the citizens. The outages have cost over $600 million in economic output. Businesses in the food industry have lost thousands of dollars worth of inventory due to the lack of power to the refrigerators. We are in this situation solely because of PG&E's many mistakes that have cost us billions of dollars. This is not the first time that has happened as well. PG&E has caused many fires in the past. Their job is not just to give people power. It is to protect their customers from the dangers of what can happen when performing their job, and they have failed time and time again to do so.
Dangerous. PG in general should have taken care of this for the last 50 years.
There's people who are struggling to know what to do with their food, for childcare, for schools. There's new moms who are figuring out what to do with their frozen breast milk. I mean, it really runs the gamut. It's just been an incredible inconvenience for a lot of people, and they just want to know when it's going to end. I mean, and you see grocery stores with empty shelves because they had to dump all their perishables. People working off generators, some people, but most of the people I visited today had just closed up shop and were going to wait it out. Very difficult, but at the same time, people are concerned that, PG&E is a publicly traded company, and a lot of people think that they're caring more about the shareholders than they are about the general public and keeping them safe. So there's a balance that needs to be struck there.
Campfire in Paradise, California left people terrified and without shelter. Innocent families were driven away from their homes and forced to find refuge wherever they could. I can't even begin to imagine the terror of having your whole town burned down. This is a very emotional time for anyone living in Paradise, and also for their friends and family. In response to the disaster, people donated things that the victims might need, such as food and clothing. Let's now have a moment of silence to pay respect to the 83 victims who lost their lives.
A year after the campfire, a devastated community hopes to rebuild, if it can. Crews are clearing the last of the burned houses, dead trees, scorched car frames, ash, and debris. For months, trucks have rumbled through the neighborhoods, hauling away the ruins. The people have not only lost their homes, but they have lost their way of life. Paradise is still far from being destroyed, but there is still hope for the future.
Paradise is a town of resilient people, and when we have a tragedy like the campfire, everybody pulls together and helps everyone else. I knew
Thousands of survivors didn't have the money to go anywhere else, so they had to sleep in overcrowded shelters, cars, and tents, and had no idea where to go after the fire. Laura Whitaker and her 9-year-old grandson are sleeping in tents outside a Walmart in nearby Chico. Sometimes it gets so cold at night that they can't sleep, she says. Her grandson Eli misses just being in a bed, being under a ceiling, and actually having a real bathroom. A lot of people lost hope. Imagine having your house burned suddenly and you are forced to be homeless because there's nowhere else to stay, and not having a clue at all if any of your friends or family made it out alive of the treacherous fire. These people literally lost everything. People are rallying together and pushing through the pain of this sad time. As the city rebuilds, people are finding it almost impossible to get homeowners insurance. And if they do, the rates are extremely high. All this because PG&E failed to do their job correctly.
Our hearts go out to all those affected by the campfire. That's all we have today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to Channel 9 News. And remember, be careful with fire.